Okay, on this last video, we'll create our overall balance cell, which will show whether we have a profit or a loss for our business. We'll also talk about formatting cells and creating graphs for our expenses and our income. And finally, just little things we can do to improve the visual appeal of our budget. Let's start with the overall balance cell. So we have our total expenses, our total income. These are calculated as described in the previous videos. Let's merge a few cells over here and call this the balance. And then in this cell, we're going to just create a function which is the difference. So equals, see the equals up here, our income, which comes from here, minus our expenses. So if we have more income than expenses, we have a profit. And we can see for this pretend project, there would be a profit of about $17,000. It's possible to have a loss. So let me just adjust here. Don't do this on yours, but I'm going to pretend I'm subtracting much more than I made, like 50,000. Okay, then you see you get a negative balance in that case, and that would indicate that we're losing money. I'm going to undo this. It's actually not a bad thing if it might be more realistic in some cases if your project is losing money. Because, for example, this project cleaning up plastic might initially lose a lot of money. And then as more people get excited about the project and want to contribute money to help the project along for the good of the earth, you might start to make money. And some of the most valuable businesses in existence actually operate at a huge loss, a huge annual loss, and their value is based on future earnings or what they'll be worth by capturing a lot of market share in the future. I mean, I guess for most of these projects, if you can find a realistic way to run a profit, it probably looks better, but I just did want to acknowledge that a loss is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so that's our overall balance cell. And now let me just make sure I'm going in order so I don't overlook anything. Oh yeah, formatting cells. Okay, so let's start to clean this up and make this look nicer. We've already done some formatting by double clicking on columns to make the column width what we want it to be. You can do that manually by dragging, make your column widths what looks nice. You can also change the fill color for your expenses so that they're all one sort of background color. I think I used something like that on mine the first time I did it. And then income, a different fill color. Now, if I look at some of these other example budgets, that one looks similar to what I just showed you. This one was very striking. I mean, I actually feel like this red might be a bit too bright. It makes it hard to read. So just make choices that have good visual appeal as best you can. Another thing that will make this stand out and look better, I think actually I'll also color these the same as I did the cells above, since these are the summaries of these two tables. And maybe I'll give balance like a green, since we're making money, maybe sort of like a green. If I was losing money, maybe I'd make it sort of like a red, or not a bright red, but a red that could be read well. And then since this is the name of the project, maybe I want that bold, larger font. Let's see if it resizes. It does. And maybe I want to box that in like this with borders. How does that look? That looks pretty good. I might want some borders like this around my expenses and my income. These are personal choices. Just, refer to the rubric and understand that there should be some overall visual appeal to this budget by the time you're done with it. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm showing you. It's really personal choices. I'm looking for the one where I get all borders. It's strange that I don't see that. There it is. That sort of shows me the columns and rows better. I think I like that. I'll do the same thing here. I'll probably give this an overall box and give this its own. Do something like that here and here as well. There is one important formatting choice that maybe I should have started with since it's so important. All of these dollar amounts are very haphazard at the moment. Very haphazard is probably the wrong word, but very inconsistent. For example, this $3,500 has the comma, and this $4,960 doesn't. You can have Excel clean all that up for you by selecting all these cells that are dollar amounts, right-clicking and choosing. I just assumed it was a right click, maybe not. Where is format? Oh, here it is, up here. Number format. I'm going to click this drop down and choose currency. So dollars and cents. And so there, that looks better. I might want that centered. I'm not sure. I might change my mind and decide I don't want it. Let me see how that looks. I think I like that better. Although, is it better to have are my place values lined up better the first way? They are. So I think that's actually better. So see, I'm talking through these choices. The point I'm trying to make is you don't have to make these exact choices. Just try to make good choices that make it look good. Maybe for these quantities that those look better centered. I think they actually do. And for the dollar amounts, right align lines up my decimal places, which probably makes more sense. Now, if I'm making money, if I'm formatting money to be currency, then all of these should be formatted to be currency. But I can actually use a format painter, choose some of these that are formatted as currency, click this format painter paintbrush, and then the next cells that I select will match the format of the previous cells. And so there's a shortcut for that. I think it unfortunately also um, messed my border up. Do you see how the border on the right side and bottom now is no longer this um, bold outline that I wanted? So I'll just redo that. So this is how you adjust format. And see how much nicer that left table looks now than the right table. I'm going to change this to currency. I'm going to change this to currency. I'm going to change these. Oh, let me show you something else. This will actually be helpful for the next step. If I want these currency and also want these currency, I can click Control on a PC, and on a Mac, I believe it's Command, and then I can select non-adjacent cells that way. So let me do that again. I'm clicking and dragging these, but I don't want these. So I'm just going over here. I'm clicking on my PC Control. On your Mac, it would be Command, and then selecting the other ones. And now I can go up and choose currency for all of them. There. Okay. Now I've got some inconsistent formatting. I'm not done yet. Do you see what I've missed? These are the type of things I look for when I'm grading with the rubric. So if I looked at this budget and in the moment where I'm grading and thinking about formatting, I noticed a couple things. I noticed a lot of things that look good, and I noticed a couple inconsistent things. I forgot I want currency here, and I also notice I've got center aligned. My quantities on my expenses table are center aligned, but not on my income table. So I'm going to make that change. Now, will that make a difference between the grade on the rubric? I don't know. It just depends on how much inconsistency is in your budget. So try to come up with good choices and try to be consistent. And at this point, I think the formatting looks pretty good. So I'm going to go back here and make sure that that is the next thing. I want to create our graphs. Okay. I'm going to show you how to make horizontal bar graphs, but you don't have to make the graphs I'm showing you. I like some graphical representation of your expenses and some graphical representation of your income. I'm going to show you how to do a bar graph, but you can do it some other way if you choose. So I'm going to select all my expenses, all the descriptions of my different expenses, and then I'm going to click Control. On a Mac, it would be, I believe, Command, and I'm going to go over here and select the totals. I don't want the amounts because I sort of want to show what I'm trying to show with this graph is what are my highest expenses? What are all the things I'm spending money on? And which of those things are the most expensive, creating the most expense for my project? Once I have those selected, I can insert a chart. So I've got some choices here. I'm going to select a horizontal bar graph and drag it underneath my expenses. Now, you've done some of this in science, and so you probably know how to do some of this already. The first thing I noticed that I don't like is this x-axis. These numbers are too cluttered, and so I'm going to right-click around here on the x-axis and click Format, and that's my horizontal axis. I have major units of 1,000, and so that's why they're so cluttered. If I change this to 2,000, I believe that will make it look nicer. Okay. Um, I also want to give it a title, and so I'm going to go up here, and these are my expenses. Changes that. I like the way this looks. I don't really need this. If I click on it, I can probably, oh, I can just turn it off with this button. I think I'll do that. I think I'll just turn that off because it's pretty clear and intuitive what's going on here. It doesn't need that label. All right. I mean, you can do a lot more with this, but this is the general idea. And so now I'm going to try to do it for my income as well. Select my income sources, hit Control so I can select these non-adjacent cells, which are my totals, and then insert horizontal bar graph, drag it down down here. You can see the x-axis is a real issue on this one. Right-click, Format. It knows I want the horizontal axis. I see. What do we go up to for these totals? We go all the way up to 25,000. Something tells me 5,000. Oh, that's what I already have, so that's not going to work. Let's make this 7,500 and see what happens. No, that's still too cluttered. 10,000. Okay. So, I mean, this makes it clear that most of the income is coming from these birdhouses, and you can see that it's in between 20 and 30,000, pretty close to the midpoint. So from that graph, you can sort of tell it's around 25,000. You can see that the initial GoFundMe campaign is another significant source of income, a bit less than 10,000, and these two are kind of much less significant, but still showing up. I'm going to get rid of this legend. I'm going to rename the title Income. The nicer you can make your graphs look, the better. But that's pretty. Those are pretty good at the moment. All right, now let me make sure visual appeal. One last check on visual appeal. We've got borders. We've got a larger font for the title of the project. You know, I could have played around maybe with let's see if this maybe that makes sense to do something like that. These descriptions seem good left aligned, although the word description probably doesn't. I kind of feel like the titles of these columns should be center aligned. That makes more sense to me. Be consistent here. Okay, I think that looks better. I feel good about this at this point. I mean, refer to the rubric. I'm trying not to make these videos overly long. Refer to the rubric. Put some effort into the visual appeal of your budget. Don't forget to include the graphs, the charts for income and expenses. And again, they don't have to be the same choices I made, just some representation, graphical representation of your income and expenses. And don't forget to have your comments on several cells, probably more than this. I just have a few examples. And just, you've got the rubric. So read through the rubric, read down the exemplary column for each of the four categories and see whether you can convince yourself that you've achieved that exemplary goal. And if not, you can work on it some more. And of course, you can always email me any questions you have. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.